What's going on?
I don't know. I guess the train's lost.
What'd he say?
Says the train's lost.
How can a train be lost? It's on rails.
Hello everyone and welcome to FilmPulse Daily, dated January 31st, 2012. We have some DVD and Blu Ray releases to go over today. So first up we have Drive, starring Ryan Gosling. This is one of my favorite, if not my favorite film of the year. It's definitely the best film to come out on Blu Ray or DVD this week, and it's an absolute must-see. I'm sure that we'll be talking about that in our weekly podcast when we discuss the Oscars. I cannot believe that it was only nominated for sound editing, and it is just an absolute amazing film and is a must-see. Next up, we have the remake of The Thing, which was the classic 1980s John Carpenter film. They decided that they wanted to remake this for a modern generation, and it's not really a remake as much of a prequel. Either way, it's horrible, and it doesn't need to be watched. The CG is terrible, and that was probably the most disappointing thing about the film, just because the special effects in the original one were really just way ahead of their time. And in fact, I watched the original one before the prequel came out just to refresh myself, and to this day I was just kind of blown away by how good the makeup and stop motion effects were in the film. Next we have The Big Year with Jack Black, Steve Martin, and Owen Wilson. I didn't see this movie, but I heard absolutely terrible things about it. Probably not worth watching. We also have In Time with Justin Timberlake. That one could probably also be skipped, although it does seem like kind of an interesting concept. From what I heard, it was riddled with plot holes and just terrible story and terrible acting. We also have Dream House with Daniel Craig, which is your typical bad horror movie that could definitely be skipped. Next up, we have Texas Killing Fields. I actually liked this movie a lot, and you didn't hear much about it. It came out last year and didn't get very good critical praise, but it's a very interesting murder mystery thriller. It stars Sam Worthington, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Jessica Chastain, Chloe Grace Moretz, who you'll probably remember her best from Kick-Ass and Let Me In. It was supposedly based on a true story. However, you always take those claims with a grain of salt. It's definitely a cool murder mystery if you're into that type of movie. It's quite depressing at times, but it was pretty much a decent film. I'm not sure exactly why it did so poorly. I think it was just one of those mediocre films that kind of flew under the radar. Next up, The Double with Richard Gere and Topher Grace. This had a limited release in theaters and ended up on demand for a while. I started watching it but fell asleep, so I couldn't tell you too much about it other than the fact that it's about a elusive terrorist who comes out of hiding, and Topher Grace is the young upstart FBI agent who's out to track down this terrorist and finds out that it may or may not be Richard Gere, who plays a retired CIA agent. We also have Transformers: Dark of the Moon. I hated this movie. I think it was the worst of all the Transformers movies, and that's saying a lot because I really hated the second one. From the terrible acting to the piss-poor story and the ridiculous plot, these movies just need to stop being made. At this point, it just feels like it's a cash cow from Michael Bay because it was so sloppily thrown together, with Megan Fox being booted off the movie and having the other model character replace her, and the plot was filled with holes, and it really strays away from the Transformers cartoon that I grew up with and really loved. And I think that's the most devastating thing about the films, is that it's taking something that I truly loved in my childhood and just completely destroying it and turning it into some hideous money-grubbing monster. We also have quite a few films that are new to Blu-ray this week, and those include To Kill a Mockingbird adaptation, which I loved, starring Nicolas Cage, Malcolm X, Shakespeare in Love, The English Patient, Cold Mountain, Frida, The Piano, and Night Train Murders. So check those out. That's all for this Tuesday, January 31st. And make sure to check out filmpulse.net for the latest film news, reviews, features, and more.